Welcome to the session on hardware components of the instruction set architecture. At the end of this session, students will be able to understand the programmer accessible hardware and the instructions that manipulates data within the hardware. So in introductory part here, we look at the hardware components as viewed by the assembly language programmer, and we begin with the discussion of a system as a whole and the CPU interaction with its internal memory and the performing input output with the outside world. The ISA, that is instruction set architecture, specifies what the processor is capable of doing and the ISA how it gets accomplished. So the instruction set architecture is basically the interface between the hardware and the software. Regarding the first component, that is instruction set architecture, ISA view of a machine corresponds to the machine and assembly language levels. ISA is the portion of the machine which is visible to either the assembly language programmer or a compiler writer or an application programmer. The only way that you can talk to your machines is through the ISA. This gives you an idea of the interface between the hardware and software part. So here the assembly language will have to be finally translated into machine language object code, which consists of zeros and ones. So the translation from your high level language to your assembly language and the binary code will have to be done with the compiler and the assembler also. The binary compatibility is that they provide make ISA one of the most fundamental abstractions in computing. Regarding the system bus model of a computer system, here a bus is a communication pathway connecting two or more devices, and the key characteristic of a bus is that it is shared transmission medium, and the purpose of the bus is to reduce the number of interconnections between the CPU and its subsystems. Rather than have separate communication paths between memory and each IO devices, the CPU interconnected with its memory and IO system via shared system bus. In more complex system, there may be separate buses between the CPU and memory and CPU and IO. And in typical scenario, a user writes a high level program which a compiler translates into assembly language. Regarding common sizes for data types, here computer memory consists of collections of consecutively numbered registers, each one of which normally holds 1 byte. And each register has an address referred to as memory location. So a nibble or nibble, that is it's sometimes spelled, refers to as collection of 4 adjacent bits. And the meaning of the term bit, byte, nibble are generally agreed upon regardless of the specifies of an architecture, but the meaning of the word depends upon the particular processor. Typical word sizes are 16, 32, 64 and 128 bits, with the 32 bit word size being the common form for ordinary computers these days, and the 64 bit word growing in very much popularity. So in a byte addressable machine, the smallest object that can be referenced in memory is the byte. Most machines today have instructions that can access bytes, half words, words and double words. So when multi-byte words are used, there are two choices about the order in which the bytes are stored in memory. And the very first, that is most significant byte at lowest address, referred to as big endian. Least significant byte stored at lowest address referred to as little endian. So memory location are arranged linearly in consecutive order as shown here in this particular figure, and the highest address for 2 to the power 32 byte memory location is 2 to the power 32 minus 1, and the lowest address is 0. So your address reference starts from 0th memory location. So here you have a question, that is multi-byte words are stored in a sequence as sequence of bytes addressed by the byte of the word that has, you have some options. So your answer, multi-byte words are stored in a sequence as a sequence of bytes addressed by the byte of the word that has the lowest address, and that is also referred to as big endian. So memory map for the ARC, when we call memory, so for example here the memory has a 32 byte address space, which means the programmer can access a byte of memory anywhere in the ranges from 0 to 2 to the power 32 minus 1. And the address space for our example architecture is divided into distinct regions which are used for the operating system input, output, and user programs, and even system stacks, right? Here the lower 2 to the power 11, that is 2048 addresses of the memory map are reserved for use by the operating system, and the user space is for or where a user assembled programs is loaded, and that can grow during operations from location 2048 until it meets up with the system stack. And the system stack starts at location 2 to the power 31 minus 4 and grows towards lower addresses. And the portion of the address space between 2 to the power 31 and 2 to the power 32 minus 1 is reserved for IO devices. Okay. Regarding abstract view of a CPU, that we are familiar with the basic components of the system bus and memory, we are ready to explore the internals of the CPU. At a minimum, the CPU consists of data sections and the contains registers and the ALU, and a control sections which interprets instructions and the effect register transfer, as here we are explaining with this figure. The data section is also referred to as the data path. And regarding data path, we are just looking this in the next slide. So before this, we are complete fetch execute cycle. See, there are the two registers that from the interface between the control unit and the data unit, known as the program counter and the instruction register, PC and IR. This contains the address of the instructions being executed, and the instruction that is pointed to by the PC is fetched from the memory and is stored in the instruction register where it is interpreted. And some of the steps here we are looking, that are control units carries out the execution of a program, and they are: very first, fetch the next instructions to be executed from memory; second, decode the opcode; then read the operand, right? Then in the step number 4, execute the instructions and store the results. Okay, and thereafter again for the next execution of instruction, again we need to follow from step 1 to 5. So this is nothing but what? Fetch execution cycle. And the control unit is responsible for coordinating these different units in the execution of a computer program. Regarding data path is made up of collection of registers known as the register files and the arithmetic and logic unit. And this figure explains the data path of an example processor. The register file in the figure can be thought of as a small fast memory separate from the system memory, which is used for temporary storage during the computation. Typical sizes for a register file ranges from a few to few thousand registers, like the system memory. Each register in the register file is assigned an address in a sequence starting from 0. So these are my references. Thank you.